name's Justin. I'm the head of fleet operations for South East Coast Ambulance Service in the UK. I'd like to introduce you to our Ipts vehicle, our connected smart ambulance that we've been working with Furno and local bodybuilders to provide. It'd be a pleasure to show you a board. Service. We've not got a tail lift on the back of this vehicle. We've worked in partnership with Furno and utilising some of their fantastic products to really enhance the patient experience and to take away some of the unnecessary inefficiencies that we find with the traditional conventional approaches to loading patients. So we've taken about 1/4 of a tonne off the back of the vehicle. That's going to translate into fuel savings. That's going to translate into maintenance reductions. In terms of task time, we're going to see about a minute shaved off the loading scenario for each transport. And in an organisation that produces about 4,000 unit hours of ambulance time a day, you know, that's going to be a phenomenal saving for us. Obviously, you don't incur the downtime that's associated with maintaining those ancillary pieces of equipment, and you also don't have to go through the regulatory requirements that being certificated and testing those regimes also brings into the mix. All of that equates to, you know, a very smart approach to taking out waste from the system, and for us not to be impacting on the availability time of an ambulance that should be out, rendering aid to patients. The other main kind of scenario and vision for this vehicle is that we wanted a completely connected environment. We wanted to release efficiencies through technology. We wanted to enable the clinician to be far better connected to other healthcare providers and also better connected to clinical supervisors and enable the managers to be able to contact our staff in a variety of ways so that whatever the scenario, they were able to provide some support and some guidance and do that from within the confines of the vehicle. There's obviously a lot of interest around the NX and its capabilities, and we're not necessarily going to be focusing too much on the variety of options and the scenarios that you can use the NX. YouTube's there, you can have a look at those, but the fact that we've got a stable, safe patient environment, one that accommodates the equipment to fulfil the needs of the paramedic, to fulfil the needs of the patient, to enable a really safe transfer and transportation of both the equipment and the patient in synergy with each other, you know, just takes that whole care package to another level. As you can see on this vehicle, we've got the pack rack, which is a crash tested environment that allows us to attach a number of ancillary pieces of equipment within the proximity of the patient. That means that, you know, we don't run the risk of potentially having an incident in the vehicle where the equipment might strike the patient or hit other occupants. That's been something that's been lacking in the UK ambulance sector for quite a while. We've done far too many things to try and get around that. The working practice of the paramedic under pressure will often mean that they were putting stuff down on the floor and not necessarily securing that kind of technology and that equipment in a safe and secure manner. The design feature of this vehicle is that we've got multiple positions for the cot. The cot, as it is at the moment, is in its normal position. If we end up with bariatric patients, we've got the ability to move the cot to the centre line of the vehicle, but also to charge and be completely stable in a crash-worthy environment. We've got a medic seat that we can also orientate according to the head end of the patient. Allows us to maintain you know, good airway posture and position whilst maintaining safety throughout. We've got a really good quality intercom system, but there's nothing that really replaces the benefit of being able to talk through an open door in a safe and reliable manner. So we've put in this bulkhead door really to benefit the communication between the front and the back, and really to maintain the communication when it's most important and when it's critical when the patient's being treated. Taken out a lot of cupboards. Again, traditionally within the UK, you tend to find that we've got a cupboard for all sorts of boxes and bells and whistles, and having the flexibility of using Intrax has meant that not only can we configure the vehicle to match the skill set of the staff, but also the role and the function that the vehicle needs to undertake. So you may well find that, on day one or month one, it's going to be a critical care paramedic. And then you might want to then say, well, do you know what? We need more transport hours, so we're going to turn it into a non-emergency transport vehicle, or maybe we're going to turn it into an ALS or a BLS truck, and really enable the flexibility for the environment to suit the clinician and the needs of the patient. The other great advantage of this system is that once your medical director starts making decisions that says, you know what, we're going to swap from this piece of equipment or this piece of equipment to something else, rather than going through a remedial plan that's going to take 3 to 6 months of reworking, downtime, and obviously a lot of labour cost, we can then turn around relatively quickly with the system. We can unplug what we've got and we can replace it with something else. Infection control environments to really limit the risk to the patient. Picking up health acquired infections is a big deal, and we've got a role to play in the ambulance service to ensure that we're not impacting on patients unnecessarily, and introducing them to the opportunity to pick up an infection. With that said, one of the developments for this vehicle is that we've taken away blinds. Traditionally we would have integrated blinds within the window panel. Our crews report that they get dirty, they get broken. Obviously fixing those means that the vehicle again is off the road. But from a patient care perspective, the feedback that we get from patients is that this sort of artificial horizon creates a nausea in some patients, and being able to turn on a switch, blank out for privacy and dignity what's going on in the back of the vehicle, and then potentially to uncharge the window and make that transparent again is a great opportunity, and hopefully it's something that's really going to be popular with our staff. The key advantages that we're anticipating with this vehicle, apart from the flexibility of design and the ability to configure it to match the skills of the staff, is the fact that obviously we're not overloading vehicles with components and medical consumables, which reduces risk, but actually there's also a great opportunity there to refine our costs and make sure that we've got a vehicle that's really task-worthy for the role and function that it deserves. We anticipate that we will see a speeding up through our Make Ready system, probably of about 10 minutes. And in our system, a 10-minute efficiency equates to about £1.7 million worth of savings, which is crucial. We need to be really sharp about taking out the waste from the system, and seeing how we can then turn those savings into cashable benefits and then reinvest that into other projects like this and back into patient care. On this vehicle, you'll also see that we've got PIR motion sensors. We use that to control a lot of the aspects of the vehicle, particularly the lighting. It's part and parcel of the strategy for managing power within the vehicle. We want to automate what we can, but we don't want to be too reliant upon switch panels and guys fumbling around with dirty gloves when they should be focusing on the patient. So we've set this up through the AceTech system, ultimately to control the lighting within the vehicle, but also so it's configured so that it turns off automatically as part and parcel of the power management strategy within this truck. So another innovation that we've managed to cram into this already innovation full truck is we've got Alexa on board, which is sort of the Amazon version of Siri. Gives an element of voice control, gives us the ability to be able to say lights on, lights off, change the temperature, change the environment, maybe inquire about certain protocols in certain situations, really providing the operational and clinical staff with a how-to if they need to, just to give them some confidence about a job that maybe they haven't done for a while, and a grand opportunity for them to be able to say, I just need to check my protocols, make sure I'm on the right side of my guidance, am I operating safely, and am I operating in the best interest of my patients. We've also managed to put some high fidelity CCTV camera options on this vehicle. So we've got some in the saloon, as you can see. We also put CCTV around the vehicle. That allows us to protect our staff and support our staff, as well as making sure that obviously our patients are safeguarded. This CCTV system bounces through our Wi-Fi on board. That means that we can back up the CCTV images through to the cloud, and when we get into traffic violations, we get into incidents roadside, we're able to download that data pretty quickly. It gives us the ability to talk with law enforcement and local police authorities about the initial causes and the things that the crew were experiencing before they were involved in a particular incident. We also know that in the UK, and in this trust in particular, we get about 32% of our assaults happen in or around the vehicle, and being able to protect our staff and support our staff through the legal process has been invaluable, particularly if you've got high fidelity images to support that challenge. Smart temperature control drives a number of functions within this vehicle. The first and most important function is that it allows us to track the cooling efficacy and the maintenance of cooling within the drugs compartment. It has a positive effect on the half-life of efficacy of the drug, and it's audited so that we're able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt exactly that the drugs were contained in a safe and effective manner for optimum effect when they get to the patient. The other aspect of smart temperature control is that it's linked to the Ipts system. It's part and parcel of Eco Run, and we can configure some of the environments and the situations and conditions on the back of the vehicle, temperature being one, lighting being another, and battery condition, so that we can start shedding the load that's on the vehicle. We can manage the battery state in terms of perseverance of the main starter battery, but when some of those conditions and those environmental aspects start going out of kilter, then the vehicle starts itself back up again to protect the integrity of the environment that we've already predetermined. Solar panels fitted to this vehicle. They're marine grade, self-healing panels, so in terms of damage and what have you, they still become very, very efficient and effective. They're linked directly to the Ipts system, so we know the amount of charge that we're getting through those panels and the amount of support that the batteries are actually receiving. We've had no downtime since we've had this vehicle connected up with those solar panels associated with battery problems. We've been able to monitor over time the efficacy of those solar panels, even within a garage, picking up ambient lighting. We haven't seen any of the battery charge levels drop. Some of the other technology that we're seeing on this vehicle really is a first for us again. The opportunity to connect our assets to the vehicle, and then to alert the staff of the fact that some of those key important assets, the assets that are low volume but high value critical assets in terms of the mission, are absent or missing. You'll never get into the opportunity again, or the situation again, where we'll find that a crew leaves a scene where maybe they've attended and it's been particularly complicated, and they drive away not recognising the fact that they've left their cardiac monitor behind. As part and parcel of the Ipts system, we also have AVA. It's a voice alert. One of the elements that we found was really distracting staff in their normal work was that we had bells and pings and chirps telling them that something was out of alignment, and they got to a point there were so many of those that they were being distracted, and they didn't really know what the chirp or the ping was necessarily telling them. So we've gone to very simple instructions that and information packages that tell them that the door's open, that maybe they're travelling too fast. Demonstration of some of the tech that we've got on this vehicle, and as I've already mentioned, we've got Alexa on board. We've got the ability for Bluetooth, near field technologies, and Wi-Fi, obviously for the benefit of the crew, being able to do their normal mandated emails and e-learning and that kind of stuff. But when they're on some downtime, this will give them a reliable source and hotspot for them to download something off the internet, maybe stream some movies, and really give them the opportunity to decompress after some of those nasty jobs that they unfortunately have to go to. This vehicle really is the epitome of the vision of the trust, and really is the building block for the changes that we're seeing within the NHS. Better connectivity to enable better care for our patients, and the opportunity for working much more collaboratively with other healthcare providers and emergency services to really benefit the whole health economy and improve patient outcome.